Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Daniel Olexa. I'm the founder of Transcendent Living, where I help gifted individuals live bigger lives, lives beyond the normal that everyone else has told them they should live according to, and really embracing and unleashing their gifts. That brings me to today's topic, which is about both creating and leaving a legacy. And it's something that I have talked to clients about for years in the work that I do of what do they want to leave behind. I have a program that I offer occasionally throughout the year that begins with what do you want to leave on what do you want on your tombstone? And that's not a reference to the 1980s, 1990s pizza commercial. This is literally what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? And what do you want to have written in granite as your epitaph? For that to happen, you have to live your life that way now. And it's a big gut check moment. It's a shift in thinking about how we live, is we've been somewhat indoctrinated over time that the doing of whatever we do in life is eventually supposed to get us somewhere. But sometimes the things that we do from day to day aren't taking us toward that bigger idea, the thing that really drives us and wants us, that we want to create in the world for our lives, our success, our happiness. And we get derailed by living in too much in the moment, putting out fires and not being intentional about moving forward. And I think the reason that this is such an important topic to me today is last week my wife and I were in Los Angeles for the Keep the Party Going concert that was a tribute to Jimmy Buffett, who passed away in January. We knew we wanted to be there when we saw the lineup for the concert, which included Pitbull, John Bon Jovi, Sheryl Crow, Brandy Carlisle, Kenny Chesney, the Eagles, and Paul McCartney, along with other special guests that weren't announced. And sitting there at the show, experiencing Jimmy Buffett's legacy through all these incredible performers and their stories of connection to him really got me thinking about the life this guy lived. He lived truly who he was, and he imparted that on others. Some of the guest presenters that night introducing acts were Woody Harrelson, Harrison freaking Ford, Jane Fonda, Judd Apatow, and Dave Grohl getting the honor of introducing Paul McCartney to the stage. Then thinking about, here is this performer who was around for decades, Mr. Buffett, who created a legacy essentially from one song, Margaritaville, that became his brand and the brand of his company. In From everything I've heard recently, it actually made him a billionaire with all of the restaurants and the other things that came out of the branding of that one song. Yet to hear each of the individuals, the musicians and the performers who were there that night, talking about experiencing him, being with him at different points in their lives, it was all about how kind and gentle he was and the gifts that he gave to them in a really emotional moment. I'm going to get emotional even talking about it. When Paul McCartney came on stage, he told the story of he had been on vacation with Jimmy and had forgotten to bring his guitar. So Jimmy had one of his guitars strung left-handed so Paul could play. And then after that, Jimmy had talked to his guitar maker and had a special guitar made for Paul. And Paul's telling this story on stage and then sits down at the piano to talk about being with Jimmy Buffett during, it's a really emotional story, during the last week of his life, and saying, I played music for him, and this is one of the songs that I played. And he sat down to do this beautiful rendition of Let It Be. And while he was singing solo at the piano, the members of the Eagles came out and were his harmonizing band behind him. It was an incredible moment. And thinking about the level of talent on that stage in the moment, but also the level of achievement. Here's Paul McCartney, one of the founding members of the greatest rock and roll band ever, that really set the foundation for what rock has become and what music has become, paying honor and tribute to Jimmy Buffett and how he impacted his life. That's the kind of legacy that I want to leave behind. And many of my clients want to leave the same behind. But to do that, to have those wonderful things said about us when we are no longer here, requires us to live at that level now. So I invite you all here in this moment. What is the legacy you want to leave behind? Sorry, the emotion's getting me. It might not be the thing you're doing right now. The things you're doing might be distracting you from it as you feel a deeper passion coming forward that you really want to unleash in the world. And what are the stories you're telling yourself about the things you have to do to be able to get by in life rather than really embracing that dream, even if it's just part of that dream and taking action to make it happen while you do the things that keep you going and keep the bills paid and keep your family fed. But if you don't start focusing on unleashing that deeper desire for who you want to be and start being that person now, those are not the things that will be said when you are no longer here. And that's a powerful gut check. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be remembered as when you are no longer here? And start being that person right now. It might seem like a 180-degree shift, and maybe it's just 1 or 2 degrees of change at a time, but start letting that person out of you and be them now. It was a really powerful moment for me last week in seeing the honor and the celebration of this man's life, and reminded me that there's even more that I can do to live bigger and be kinder in this world and have a greater impact. And I hope that message also impacts you. So as we begin wrapping up today's show, I hope that this message of legacy and how to create the legacy that you want has been helpful. But think about it from the place of the ultimate outcome. What do you want people to say about you when you are gone? How can you start being that person now? What's getting in the way of you being that person that you can stop doing so that you can start doing the things to become them and be them in this moment? Thank you very much. Go live and be the person who lives and creates your legacy. Thank you. Feel free to reach out to me if you would like to chat about any of this. Take care.